I'm very pleased to be interviewing Seth Besmertnik, who's the CEO of Conductor. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's go into your background. How did you get to where you are today?
How did I get to where we are today? So I think what Conductor does is we help companies get found on the web in places when they're not on your website already and when you can't use dollars to get them, so they're not going to click on your ads. And we found this opportunity through, I think, lots of different discoveries over time. And initially, I came across this opportunity just as a consumer. I realized that when I went to go buy things, when I went to go and research products and services, what did I do? Well, I went on YouTube, I went on Google, I did searches, and I realized that if you are a big brand and you are looking to figure out how does your company get found online, there wasn't a lot of tooling, there wasn't a lot of technology, there wasn't a lot of instrumentation to do this, and we got excited about this opportunity and fulfilling that void. So that went from it went from being an idea to in an apartment. So the business went from being an idea in an apartment on a bike shop on 34th Street to having engineers actually starting to build a product. And several years later, we've got hundreds of customers and we've got almost 200 employees, and on our way to building a giant organization.
So what did you study in school?
Yeah, so I actually studied. I went to Baruch School of Business, and I studied entrepreneurship. And I actually went to school in the evening. So my day was I went to work from 8:30 to 5:30. And I had two jobs over the course of school. I wholesaled clothing for department stores. I wholesaled clothing for Nautica to department stores on the East Coast, and then I did inside sales for a software company. And then at the end of the day, I'd go to school at 6 o'clock until about 10 o'clock, and I studied entrepreneurship and all the different disciplines that come along with that. I'd say if you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to go to school to be an entrepreneur. It's probably actually a better thing is to study computer science or finance or some specific discipline. So I learned that the hard way.
In terms of Conductor, what role does it play in the ecosystem?
Conductor plays, for the companies that use Conductor, it plays in many cases an extremely important role. As consumers over the last half a decade have moved, the lion's share of how they spend time interacting with media, and really just how they spend time in general, is online, it's on the web. That trend has also really changed the way brands and companies have to think about reaching their customers and marketing to their customers. And the biggest reason for that is that when a consumer like myself and like you are on the internet, you have a lot of choice. You get to choose what you want, and there's no one really forcing you to do anything. And when you have choice, what people tend to do is they choose content over ads. So from a brand's perspective, they used to be able to say, well, someone's going to be watching TV, I'm going to make them watch my commercial, or someone's going to be looking at a magazine, they have to see my ad, or they're listening to the radio, they have to listen to my commercial. You have no choice. But now that people are spending their time on the web, they have choice, and companies are having to figure out, how do I make great content? How do I actually figure out how do I deliver value to my customers so they actually choose me when they have a choice versus when they're forced to choose me? And Conductor is really helping companies understand where are their customers doing, what are the kinds of things they're interested in, and how do they make it so they can create content and education so their customers actually choose them and they win the customer in the 21st century.
Seth, you started Conductor from the ground up?
Yes, I was the first employee.
All right, so how many do you have now, and how did it all get started and grow?
Yeah, we have over 150 people, and it's been an incredible ride, and it's been nothing sort of easy. I had a lot more hair when I started the company, and on the top of my head.
How long has it been around?
It's been about 7 years since we started the company. So I think starting companies is everyone, when I interview people, oftentimes I ask them what they want to do in their future, and they'll talk about how they want to run their own company. And it's incredibly empowering to run your own company. It's also the biggest challenge and probably the ultimate compromise and sacrifice that you have to make in your life. So you have to really, you won't be successful unless you're really designed to do it, and that's what you really want to do and you love it, because it's incredibly hard. There's a lot of resistance and there's a lot of failure, and you have to keep being able to say, even though I failed, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to run into the wall as fast as I ran into it the first time. I think that in order to build a successful company, there's lots of things you need to come into place. One of them is you need a big problem. generally companies that solve problems are better than ones that are like, like almost like vitamins, like they make you better, but they don't really solve a problem. You need a big market that is ready to consume that problem, whether it's a consumer or B2B product. And then you need to have a very focused solution that someone can say that's very differentiated from what their alternatives are. So if I do this, it's going to be not just a little bit better, but a lot better than what I'm currently doing. We're a B2B company, so we make software that businesses consume, and it's incredibly challenging because we have to make the software work for lots of different types of companies, and every big company works a little differently. So it's a really incredible exercise of listening to your customers and really trying to understand how their job works and what are their problems, and how do you make things that make their lives better. And if you can do that, then they'll ultimately they'll become your customer, and if you can keep doing that, then they'll stay your customer, which is the goal. Get customers and keep them and make them happier and more successful over time.